Welcome, everyone. Uh, we are talking today about the top 10 myths, monsters, and mistakes of marketing. I'm Monica Barraquette, and you'll hear a little bit more from me, but we want to welcome you all to this webinar. We have a lot of great information uh, ready to share with you. Chorley's on with me too, and you'll get to learn a little bit more about him as well. So let's get into it. So, as I mentioned, Monica Barraquette, I am VP of Operations at Agency Revolution, and I handle client and marketing operations. So, the client operations side, once a sale goes through, my team onboards that project, and then we support it once it's launched. And I also do handle marketing operations. So, that's why I'm on this webinar. You're probably getting emails from my team, so I sort of have this, dual team function here at Agency Revolution. The picture you're seeing here, I recently went to Poland. This was in June. And that is my grandmother in the photo. She is 90 years old and still climbs ladders to clean windows and still washes her rug by hand and still takes the train into the city to do her shopping. Incredible woman, and it was really great seeing her. I haven't seen her in a really long time. She lives in Poland. I live here, and those are my two boys who actually got to meet her for the very first time. So that was a special trip for
Wow.
us and a special moment. And of course, she was just really excited to get to know them a little bit more. Surely.
And hello, my name is David Chorley. I am the team lead here on the client success. And this is me and my family. We're actually one bigger now since this photo was taken. We actually welcomed our second child, a little boy who is a month old right now. He's in the other room, hopefully being quiet. But this is me and my wife, my son Colin. Last year at Halloween, we went with a Star Wars theme, obviously. And by the way, Monica, that does remind me, this is a Halloween themed webinar, correct?
Yes, I
Do,
wore all black just for that reason.
do you
Yes.
have any objection if I dress up a little bit? I mean, I won't go crazy, but I do like to take the opportunity when it is presented to dress up
I
when I
think
can.
you should go for it. Let's do
Okay.
it. Go
All
for
right.
it. Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Appreciate that.
What do you have for us there, Charlie?
Oh, I just got a few things here, but I'll surprise you here in a second.
Oh, okay. All right. Sounds good. Okay, cool. Well, here is our agenda for today. The first three we're actually going to kind of tackle all in one. So we're going to decode some myths, marketing myths. We're going to face some insurance marketing monsters, avoid some insurance marketing mistakes. Eventually, I will share with you all the download. Actually, that'll be shared via email, but we'll just spend a little bit of time talking about the download that we created just specially for this webinar, and then just open it up to some questions. So a lot of good stuff coming up. Some housekeeping items. Feel free to chat with everyone or just hosts and panelists in the webinar chat. But if you have questions that are specific to the presentation that we're making, please use the Q&A, and that way we can kind of store all of those Q&As, and we could either answer them if they pertain to what we're talking about at that moment, or just go through them at the end. Your questions will get lost in the chat. That's why I'm just suggesting that you please um, add them to the Q&A. So let's get into it. Really quickly, I'm going to spend probably around a minute on this because this is truly a value add webinar. We don't do a ton of selling, but I just do want to frame a little bit what we do here in case you are new to Agency Revolution. Maybe you've never heard of us before. It's your first time on one of our webinars, or even if you're a client and you're just not sure what's been new. So we at Agency Revolution, we have two main products: our insurance agency website and also our marketing automation product. So these two products, and I'll go back to insurance agency websites, these two products are really work hand in hand with each other. We have a unified workspace that you can log into to experience both the power of our insurance websites and the power of our marketing automation and all of the add-ons that are available on top of these two main products. So just a little intro on what we do. So again, websites and marketing automation. And something that I wanted to highlight in this session, we just launched a do it for me marketing service that is an add-on to Fuse. So, for our existing clients on this webinar, if you currently are a Fuse user and you need someone to sort of run the marketing for you, this is a great product for you. Or if you're someone who's been considering our Fuse marketing automation product, but just, you're like, I don't have anyone on my team to do this, I don't have the time. This would be a great option for you. You can take a photo of this QR code and it'll drive you right to the product page for Do It For Me Marketing, where you can learn a little bit more. Okay, so let's get into it, Charlie. Ready? I know you
Ready?
have a lot of stuff to say about this, so I'm kind of excited to hear your input. All right.
Absolutely.
So, number one, and we kind of broke this out, these are myths, mistakes, and monsters of marketing. So, we have 10 altogether, but we kind of broke them out into these themes. Marketing's purpose is to hunt for new clients only. Okay. So, that is something that I hear all the time. I don't need marketing because my agency because nice hat, because my agency is focused on, just growing our book of existing clients, or we only work with referral partners or whatever. um Huge misconception, because clients who don't hear from their agents are more likely to leave, right? If there's no communication, if you're not nurturing that relationship, that becomes a problem. So, should you be focusing on in terms of handling this misconception is striking a balance between prospecting new clients and nurturing current clients. Chorley, you have some points to share.
Well, when I first came into the insurance industry, I had a lot of experience with other kinds of marketing, and obviously the average independent insurance agency definitely has to bring in more business, right? There's just, like this, it's a bigger revolving door than a lot of other types of industries out there, which was very interesting to me. But what I learned straight out of the gate was a lot of customers initially seemed to focus a lot more on that revolving door, and it almost seemed like people were focusing almost 100% to the vast majority of that effort to bringing in the leads, and they weren't really thinking about marketing in any other way. It was just phones not ringing, no leads are coming in. um, it really takes sort of you really have to kind of take a step back and look at marketing from a bigger picture, and finding a way to strike that balance. Yes, we want leads to come in. Yes, we want to focus marketing dollars and efforts, but you have to also have a marketing game plan to market to the people you currently have on your books. And that's where I feel like people really don't either think about it, or that's where they say, hey, I don't have time to do it. And whatever that balance is, but just to focus on one versus the other is doing you an immediate disservice from a marketing standpoint. And so, we always try to, draw that line straight down the line and say, hey, it should be at the very least in two buckets. Yes, let's bring in the leads, but once they're clients, does the marketing just go away? Do we just stop marketing to them? And absolutely not. So what do we have in place once they're in the door with their agency? And those should be treated equally, if possible.
Yeah. And by the way, by marketing to existing clients, right, by not forgetting to nurture those contacts, we don't mean like hammer them with cross sell communication. Marketing isn't just selling. Marketing is developing that relationship, building that relationship, growing that relationship. It's educating your clients. It's letting them know that you're there for them. It's letting them know how to reach out to you in their time of need. So remember, marketing could be for new prospects, and marketing could be to ensure that you're building and continuing to build that relationship with your existing clients, because at the end of the day, people still like to do business based on relationships and how they feel about their relationship with your agency. And that is a huge advantage, which we'll talk about later, that you have over the big guys. So don't underestimate the power of staying in touch with your existing clients, whether it is to educate them or to tell them that you're there when they need you, or to potentially sell them, cross sell them a policy. If you have a nice mix of all of those different communications and activities, believe me, it will definitely generate some great results and value for your agency. You just can't forget about that piece. It's not all about driving leads in
Absolutely.
through your marketing. All right. So next up, the absence of a client feedback strategy. So this is a monster. And again, we see this a lot, at Agency Revolution. We find that sometimes clients are almost afraid of getting feedback from their clients, right? They are afraid of, well, what if I get negative feedback and they end up posting that on, on Google or on Yelp, and then once I collect the feedback, what do I really do with it? Like, what if they don't like me, or what if they love me? And that's great. We don't have time to collect the feedback. We don't have time to figure out what to do with it. I think not having some sort of a strategy on collecting feedback, even if it's not, daily or monthly, even if it's, every 90 days or every 6 months, without having that strategy to collect that feedback, you're really missing out on some crucial insights about whether or not your, agency is doing as well as it could be or should be. You might be missing out on strengthening relationships. You might be missing out on, information that could help you improve or enhance process. There's so many different um, there's so much value in client feedback, negative and positive, truly. So,
Absolutely.
Shirley,
And
go
I
ahead.
and I and
Yeah.
I have quite a few points there actually. Just to piggyback on what you just said though, like I've spoken to too many customers who are so afraid of the negative that they aren't willing to put themselves out there to get feedback on the positive. So to anyone who may be in that boat to overcome that monster, just realize that, negatives can be turned into positives, first of all, but overwhelmingly, you're probably going to be getting positive feedback if you solicit feedback at all. So it's usually overwhelmingly, and I'm not kidding, like 90% of the feedback you get is going to be non-negative. And that's generally what we see consistently in and out with anybody who does it. But secondly, um, the positive feedback that you get can be turned into into other marketing opportunities. So first off, to piggyback, we just talked about marketing opportunities for your current clients and not to forget it. But something as simple as this, something as simple as getting feedback from your clients to us is a good example of what we're talking about. It may not seem like marketing to your clients, but it is very much a marketing source. Let me give you an example. So if somebody gives you an 8 from an internal survey and says something nice about your agency, maybe you can take that testimonial, use it in under marketing collateral, put it on your website, put it on a brochure, put it on a screen in your lobby, Um, but more importantly, it's probably more than likely that you'd be able to turn that internal positive review into something external, something public facing. So the biggest benefit, I think, from getting feedback from customers is the ability to turn those into public-facing Google reviews. And people don't really understand sometimes the effect that a lot of consistent 5-star Google reviews will have on your website. I've seen it with my own eyes countless of times. It's not necessarily the number, like it's not like you need like 500 to come in one given year. But if you're able to consistently like get 1 or 2 5-star reviews every week, and you do that on a consistent basis, your SEO is going to improve. I promise you, that is a big factor in the Google algorithm. And so getting those Google reviews, keeping them consistent, not to mention that, it's giving your clients the outlet to actually give you some good feedback or maybe some constructive feedback. So lots of really big positives in finding a way to garner that feedback from your customers if you're able to do so. And like Monica said, even if it's once every 6 months, once a year, it doesn't have to be anything crazy.
Yeah. No, really great points. There's even more power to it. Charlie, I agree with you. I think, turning those into 5-star Google reviews is definitely has so much power. And I agree that, especially with SEO. In fact, Agency Revolution, we have close to 200 5-star reviews on Google. And
Hmm.
I think that when, insurance agencies are looking for a solution for marketing automation or websites, when they see that, when they Google services and we pop up, number one, we do pop up because we do have such a strong presence on Google, but also, it makes you feel comfortable and confident to work, to at least approach us, because you know that others
Hmm.
have worked with us and have had great experiences that they're willing to share. So that credibility indicator is really, really, really powerful. But the other power in collecting reviews and feedback from clients is just learning from them. I get consistently from my team, I receive like positive reviews probably 99.9% of the time. Okay. So
100%.
we
Yep.
usually, we score on a scale of 1 to 7. And, I usually get sevens and I usually get hundreds for satisfaction. We measure it with customer effort score, CES. That's 1 to 7. And then customer satisfaction, CSAT, is 0 to 100%. So we usually hit sevens and hundreds all the time. But where I find the most power is actually in, like Charlie, you said, in the lower scores. Like maybe it's a 6, or maybe it's like a 90, like a 90 or 95. There's always some kind of comment in there that I learned from, like, hey, everything was great. The process is great. I just wish I would have gotten more training from my
Hmm.
project manager before we launched. Great. Thank you for sharing that with us, because you know what? We're going to actually work on revamping our client training strategy to make sure that everyone feels like they have been fully transitioned from onboarding into our support team with the proper training where they feel confident using our tools. So you could really learn a lot from this feedback, and you could use it to transform your agency truly. So don't be afraid of the feedback. Don't be afraid of negative feedback on Google, because as long as you respond to that negative feedback, just seeing that there was negative feedback left and a response from the agency that was caring, and concerned, that's all people need to see. The negative, everybody leaves negative feedback somewhere. So don't be afraid of it. Just have a process for how to follow up on that feedback. And I think that's probably the most important part of collecting feedback is what you do with it. It's the follow up
Correct.
and what you do with that
Yeah.
feedback. Jackson had a question for us: what feedback channels are utilized through AR? So in terms of for our marketing automation product and our website product, we have reputation management. So through our reputation management product, you're able to do NPS surveys for your clients on a consistent basis, and then turn those surveys into Google 5-star reviews. Charlie, do you want to add anything to that?
I do. It is the MPS feedback in particular is probably the easiest way to automate. So with I mean, people are accustomed to getting these types of emails, so it's not uncommon for us to get these from multiple businesses throughout the year. So to ask your clients even twice a year, for feedback is not putting anybody out, right? And a lot of times you're going to get that good feedback. So that's probably the easiest way to get it out there. Turning that into a Google review, though, there's a couple of different strategies in place. There's automation you can put forth through our reputation management system that will automatically turn those positive NPS reviews into an ask for a Google review. Or anyone with our Fuse product, we have campaigns in place where you can focus maybe something on, like, let's say, a post renewal, or anytime someone opens up a new policy, but you can trigger based off of various policy events, and then ask for Google reviews in that way as well. So Google reviews don't necessarily have to come from just feedback. You can try to capitalize on good engagement, or times when you have engaged with customers, in particular when you've opened up a policy or done something really good for them, right? um,
At those
but
key moments. Yeah.
but that's what our AR features and products are going to be able to give you the ability to do,
Yeah.
and to capitalize on those types of situations.
Yep. So to come back to the solution, right? So we had the monster of not, having the absence of a feedback strategy. The solution for you is be proactive about asking for client feedback, learn from that feedback. We talked about that, act on that feedback, right? Reach out to the client who's upset or thank the client that gave you that positive feedback and automate the process where it makes sense. And that's the piece that Shorley just talked about. You can automate that process. You don't have to reach out to 1,000 clients one by one asking them for feedback. There are tools available, and we offer them here as well, where you can actually intelligently automate that process where it's that feedback is being requested at the right moment.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. And just real quick, Jackson
Yep.
here in the webinar chat says it's a lot to ask for an AR review and a Google review, and I can understand why you might think that, because it you know it's essentially at times maybe asking someone twice for a similar review. So it's based on your comfort level. Like I said, with something like Fuse, some people like to turn the NPS campaign off if they are indeed asking for reviews in another capacity, like I said, based off a post renewal or something like that. I don't necessarily recommend doing both at the same time, but um, trying to catch people at the right moment to ask is probably the key
Yeah.
part of that strategy. So if you have any other questions about that, let us know.
Yeah, I would say if somebody took the time to give you a great review and write feedback, like
Yeah.
detailed feedback on why they feel great about you, your agency, your team, believe me, they will take the extra step to leave you a 5-star Google review as well. We see that all the time. It's you just really do have to ask, and I would really personalize that ask because I think that's what makes the difference is, making that feel a little bit more personal. All right, we're gonna keep moving on, just to to keep an eye on time.
Good
So
stuff,
the
though. Good stuff so far.
Really good stuff. Yeah. Creeping curse, overthinking search engine optimization, SEO. So, this is an issue we see all the time. Agencies come to us and it's like, we want to do better with SEO, or what is your SEO? What do you offer for SEO? Or so and so is telling me that if I pay 2 grand, a month, they will rank, get me to rank number one on Google. So I think a lot of times we tend to overthink SEO and not focus on the thing that really matters the most when it comes to search engine optimization. And that's local SEO, focusing on local SEO instead of focusing on some global keyword, like home insurance nationally. That's going to be so challenging, to accomplish. But sort of starting at the local level and focusing on specific things that your agency specializes in the community where you are and kind of branching out from there is where you're going to gain a lot of traction. So the solution here, and I know Charlie, you have a lot of points here. Implement effective local SEO strategies by optimizing your Google business profile. So we just talked about that Google profile, those 5-star reviews. That all plays into SEO. Enhancing your listings in local directories and incorporating local keywords. Charlie, you had some comments on focused keywords and
With
one of your
it,
agency clients.
absolutely. Well, this comes back a lot. So I want to first of all piggyback on what you just said, just to make sure everyone understands. But the localized SEO strategy absolutely directly mixes with what we just talked about. So when somebody gives you consistent 5-star Google reviews, that affects where you rank from a local level. So if you look at a Google search, when you pull up a Google search, up at the top, there's the map, right? And then Google highlights a couple of businesses within that localized map. You probably want to be on that list. All right. That is localized SEO. That is slightly different from where you rank, down at the bottom. Still, it's still part of a localized strategy. But what we just talked about directly relates to this. But second of all, the local keywords aspect of this, I think, is really, really important, because far too many people just they don't come into an SEO strategy with a realistic focus. It is all about, hey, I need more auto and home, and I need to be ranking in these three big cities because that's where the most people are. But that is not a realistic approach, and that is not the best way to really prioritize an effective SEO strategy. So just keep it real basic. So if you're, where your office is located, right? If you're not ranking in the top three or even the top five within specific keyword strategies, then it is unrealistic then to think that you're going to suddenly start ranking in the next big city over, or in the big capital state where you live. You have to be comfortable with where you're ranking locally before you can move on.
And
And
start
second,
small. Like
and start small. Absolutely.
can't do everything all at once. You have to pick a keyword or key phrase, right? So let's say flood insurance would be your keyword or key phrase. And then what is your local location, right? Okay, flood insurance, Tampa, Florida, right?
Yep.
Those are your keywords that you kind of need to begin with and sort of grow from. Because if you try to rank for every single policy that you sell, every type of insurance that you sell all over the United States, or even just in your local area, that's not going to work either. So you have to start somewhere and you have to kind of keep it very focused before you branch out. You have to give it time and be patient.
And invest time in that. And just to give you an actual real life example, I've got a client in New Jersey, and they deal with all the same insurance products that you do. They have a full line of personal stuff, they have a full line of commercial stuff, they have a lot of niches that they do as well, but they are only really investing time in their website in like four sets of keywords. They do home, they do a little bit of auto, but they're fully invested in flood insurance, and they will put in a flood blog every single week. They will constantly update their flood insurance page with new content, and they just keep chugging it. Like every single week, it's the same thing. And so when you go to New Jersey and you type in flood insurance, no matter where you are in that state, they are coming up. So they have really focused. They haven't branched out. They haven't bit off more than they can chew. And that's a very good way to approach it. Even when you're ranking good, keep pumping it in there and making it even better.
And then you can add on other
Exactly.
keywords and key phrases once you kind of have, captured success with the first, move on to the second, but don't stop the first. You sort of just keep piling on and adding on to your strategy. All right. Number four, a generalist agency can't have a niche. So, um, another thing that we hear all the time, well, I'm a generalist agency, I sell PNC and all of it, and I really don't have any sort of an niche area or focus, to differentiate myself. Which I think can really limit your success, and how far you can grow your agency. So, what we want to encourage you is to identify a niche market that aligns with your agency's strengths, and then tailor your services and marketing efforts to address those specific needs. And I have a quick story, but before I even go into that story, where you can begin is just by researching the unique challenges within your community, within your area, or maybe within the client base you already have, and then figuring out how can you craft some targeted solutions to position your agency as the go-to expert in that niche. I was at a conference last month, and I spoke to an agency who was a generalist agency. They just, they did all the stuff that, you all probably do. And about 6 months ago, they decided to begin focusing on trucking insurance. And they did that, and they did it all the way. And now they sell trucking insurance across the entire United States and have grown their client base quite a bit. And this has now become their single focus. That's literally the main focus of the agency is trucking insurance, and everything else has become secondary. But they've been able to grow their business as a result of just niching down and focusing on that specific industry because there was just a lot of money to be made there. So my point is they didn't come in with any sort of trucking insurance, or industry expertise. They just learned it. They just began to research and understand what the challenges are in that industry, and they crafted a solution in order to address those challenges, and they've had a ton of success with it. Charlie, I think you have some examples with one of your clients that focuses on floating homes, right?
Yeah, exactly. And just to piggyback real fast before I give you the example here is that there's I don't think there is an agency out there that can't find themselves a niche. Like, if you say, oh, I don't have a niche, or we don't sell niche, well, that just means that you haven't found one, you haven't taken the time to explore, and maybe put in a little time to research what Monica was saying. Like, what are the needs around you? What is your competition around you? Like, the easiest way to probably find whether or not you have a niche market is by running a Google search and seeing what pops up around you. If that is something that's not popping up around you, and you start offering it, bam, there's your niche. But every single agency that I work with on a personal level has found some kind of niche, and more often than not, that niche actually, like what Monica was saying, actually creates an open door into your website, and those niches can often penetrate SEO and go beyond just your localized level much easier. So in this example, Mana's going to show you. I've got a customer in Oregon who offers floating home insurance, and for me in Arizona, I don't know what the heck floating homes are. I didn't know that was even a thing, right? Like, it's very strange to me to have a floating home. But anyway, we created a floating home page with Chat GPT. More on AI here in a bit, but this is all Chat GPT content. And what do you know? Not only is she a number one in the state of Oregon, but she's number three, or something. She hovers between 3 and 4 with that niche market for the entire nation. Again,
Which is crazy. That's a huge deal because
yeah,
it's very, very hard to rank nationally for
yeah,
anything insurance related.
and I get it. Maybe not a lot of people are going to use that keyword search. It's very, very specific, but believe you me, when people use it, they wind up on her website. I forget what it was, but she gets consistent hits to that page every single month. And again, if you can think about a niche market almost as just like an open door, a way to get someone in. You don't necessarily have to sell them on anything, on that product, but it gets them in the door, and it's a really good marketing strategy. I personally think you're doing yourselves a disservice if you don't have a niche or two available on your website.
And Jackson made a point. He said, I'm struggling with being in a big city with a million neighborhoods. Keywording a city makes it super competitive. And I totally get it. And I think, obviously some areas are easier than others, but I think you can still take this concept of figuring out what isn't um, congested in terms of keywords within your city or within your community. Focus on that, and see if you can gain traction using that strategy instead of trying to just be the next guy who does the same thing that the
Mhm.
thousand other agencies do in your area. All right, so let's move on to the next what is this, a monster? I think this is a monster.
Yeah.
Digital doppelganger. Oh my gosh, I need to like practice my spelling here. Believing social media and insurance don't mix. So this is, I think, another common monster that I hear all the time, and it's like, well, we're an independent agency, we work off of referrals, insurance is boring. What are we going to do on social media? Like nobody cares. And I think I understand where that fear comes from. But I don't think insurance has to be boring. You can, number one, you don't need to be everywhere to everyone, right? You can focus on platforms where your target audience is most active. So don't try to be on TikTok and Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn and everywhere, because I think you're going to run yourself very thin. So just figure out, what is my audience? Right? What does that demographic look like? And where are they most active? So if the majority of your agency focuses on commercial, well then you probably don't need to be on TikTok, right? Like LinkedIn is probably going to be the biggest bang for your buck there. So really just try to understand where the audience is, where they're most active, and go there. But also show the human side of your agency. You're probably not going to sell insurance through social media, through Facebook, right? But what you can do, and sometimes you will, but in most cases not. Like, who wants to read about home insurance or motorcycle insurance all the time as they're scrolling, through fun posts? What you can do is just show the human side of your agency, and show that you have a pulse, and show that you're out there, and that you're fun to work with, or that you're easy to work with, whatever the case may be. That's what you can do. So really just sort of reframe your thinking in terms of what the purpose of social media is for your agency. And I think that will create a create better results for you. Chorley, you had a little case study on this.
Well, yeah, I get the opportunity to deal with a lot of different customers at AR, and I can just see where people have been successful. And this agency gave us permission to show a little bit with what they're doing on Facebook. Um, Monica's right. Like, you're not going to sell a homeowner's policy generally with a Facebook post, but what you can do is you can bring new people in the door, and it tends to be a kind of a nice forum for at least people to get referred to you or to see an introduction into your agency. And so I really, really want to emphasize and piggyback on what Monica just said about not being afraid to show that human side. Okay. I hear this all the time from customers. Oh, our customers don't care about us. We're boring. Why would anyone care about what's going on behind our doors at the agency? And I just am here to tell you that nothing could be further from the truth. I think your customers do care. I think you guys represent a unique marketing opportunity, and this is an agency that has embraced that, where and they don't do it all the time, but at least once a month they film a little video of themselves. They'll do like maybe they'll do like a drawing or a giveaway, and they'll film themselves like picking the winner, or they'll do a little fun little video of people in the office like saying hi. It gives them personality. It just tells a story. It makes them so much more personable. They have 442 followers today. When I first started working with them 2 years ago, I think they had about 100, maybe a little less. So they have really built up quite a bit of a following over the last 2 years. And every post that they do where they have like a video or fun video, I mean, it gets between 10 and 30 likes, like, so their customers are actually fairly engaged. I think they run a couple of Facebook ads a couple of years to try to get new faces in there. And believe you me, when those new faces hit their Facebook, what do they want to be greeted with? Staunchy, boring, auto bad news about high premiums, or do you want some occasional posts that just show some exuberance, some positivity, some life? And that's really what I think people should embrace more of, on the social media side. Because you're right, it's hard to find good warm feeling posts about insurance these days. Most articles you read online are going to be about hurricanes devastating the East Coast, or high exorbitant premiums. So where's that balance? Where do you find just that warmth? And I think it's the people within your agency.
Yep, agreed. And by the way, I watched a few of these videos and like they do not talk about insurance at all. They're just
No.
hilarious and they're just engaging. And they're just like they're on trend, they're kind of like TikTok videos but on Facebook. They're just on trend. So they're just fun to see. And what it does for me is like, does it make me think home insurance? No. But what it does is it shows me that this agency knows how to have a good time. And if I'm going to be talking about insurance or working with someone on insurance, I definitely want to work with someone who knows how to have a good time, has a good personality, because it's already boring enough. I don't want like this stiff person sitting in front of me telling me about my home insurance or auto insurance or whatever. So, that's what it does. I think it's just it humanizes the agency and it shows, the behind the scenes sort of the kind of people that are there. By the way, we actually just yesterday launched our new social media add-on that is
Mhm.
available across our product lines with our Forge website and also our Fuse marketing automation. So I'm going to launch another poll. And if you are interested in learning more about our social media add-on, and you guys are kind of getting a preview because we haven't even announced it to our clients yet, or it's not even on our website yet, because we've had a lot of product releases lately. So we're just a little bit behind with some of our marketing. But if you're interested in learning more about the social media add on, this is really, really I'm pretty excited about this add on because I think it answers a lot of the needs our clients have had for a very long period of time. It allows you to automate your social media. It comes with packed with great content that you can kind of use as filler in between those human behind the scenes posts. So there's like insurance focused content, there is just general sort of good to know content, and then you
Yeah,
can kind of fill
lifestyle.
lifestyle content, and then you could fill the gaps with just real human content you could actually post directly from the platform. Um, uh, onto your social media, and it integrates with LinkedIn and Facebook, and Instagram integration is coming as well. So I see a bunch of you have answered, so we'll be in touch to chat with you, and show you a little bit more about that product, but you'll be one of the first few to actually learn more about it. Thank you for answering that poll. All right. Chorley, next one, ignoring the magic of smart marketing automation. Automation can sometimes be a scary thing. It just could be a scary word, right? Like, I don't want to over automate, because if we over automate, we kind of take the human out of the whole experience. And that's what our agency is about. Like, right? We're independent because we want to be human. We want to focus on relationships. So, um, what we're trying to share with you here is you can automate if it's smart automation, and if you set it up properly and use automation at the right moments, then it can work really well and actually make your agency more efficient and more effective, right? So don't be afraid of it. Instead, identify repetitive tasks that can be automated. What is something that your CSR is doing day in and day out manually that maybe can actually be streamlined using smart automation tools that can integrate seamlessly with your existing management system. And maybe that CSR can then focus on more meaningful tasks, like actually talking to clients and having real human conversations. So just shift your mind away from I'm afraid of automation and towards how do I use automation in a smart way to do more of the human touch, right? And eliminate some of the mindless tasks that are just repetitive and can easily be automated. One other point I just want to make, Charlie, because I know you also want to talk about the life cycle of a customer, but one other point I want to make is really important component of making automation work for you is you do have to take the time to clean your data. Like, if your data and your management system is super messy and dirty and you're not doing anything about it to clean it up, that's definitely going to make it more challenging for you to automate anything, right? Because if you've got, you know, somebody's first and last name in the first name field, right? The experience they're going to have as we send out messaging is going to be poor, because it's going to be like, hi, John Smith, instead of hi, John. So it's going to feel less personalized and more automated and more robotic because your data is not clean. So I would say don't let that keep you from moving in this direction, but you should also, like, that's important for you to consider and think through how you can begin that journey to actually clean up your data to make automation a lot more of a better experience for you and your clients. Surely.
Absolutely. And two, I just want to emphasize as well, that is sort of the big myth here, the big monster, whatever you how you want to describe it. Like, hey, I don't want automation in place because I don't want to overburden my clients. I don't want to reach out to them too much, you know. And I have yet, in many years in this industry, have ever run into a situation where I've talked to anyone that said that that has actually been the case. People who use our automation software typically see open rates between 50 and 60%. I'm not exaggerating there. I think independent agencies have the unique marketing opportunity to be able to, to be able to have see marketing opportunities um, that capitalize off of the life cycle of a client, the journey of a client, if you will. And so what I mean by that is when you send somebody post renewal, or you check in with someone for a pre-renewal check-in, or you try to cross sell someone on hey, there's a bundling opportunity if we add life insurance to your home and auto, that could save you a little bit of money. Like, yes, it is a marketing opportunity, but in most cases, your clients are actually benefiting from those emails. Whether they choose to capitalize on them is up to your customers. But if you don't have automation in place to sort of set yourself up for that success, then you're really missing out. And that lifestyle cycle graphic that you had up earlier, Monica.
Sorry, I had a little faux pas.
No, it's quite all right. No,
I
but
clicked
this is
something and it like made my screen disappear.
no,
So
no,
I
no,
got it
no.
back.
But this is typically what we recommend. So within the cycle, of a customer, they're a lead. So they're nurturing them through the lead, then they become a new customer. So what happens? What kind of automation do you have in place for when they become a new customer? And then sort of the big half of that is, what do you do while they're a customer? We've already talked a lot about the importance of that. How are you nurturing them? How are you keeping in front of them? Where's the revenue opportunity there? How are you cross selling? How are you using automation for referral based business? How are you increasing that revenue there? I feel like that's the side of the marketing coin that kind of gets missed the most. And then what happens when they aren't a customer anymore? Like it's not like the automation should stop there. We just are they dropping off the face of the earth? I mean, what's in place to perhaps get these people back? So it kind of never ends. And when you have a good automation plan in place, at least you're able to capitalize at one point throughout that cycle. And that's generally where we recommend starting.
Yeah, and in fact, you said something really critical, Chorley, is like you can't stop when the customer leaves because we see it all the time at Agency Revolution. We have clients leave us for whatever reason. They
Yep.
want to try a new vendor. They thought they found a more, cost-effective, solution. And they do come back. They come back for whatever reason. It didn't work out. They didn't have a good experience. So we never burn a bridge when a client leaves us. We do our very best to give them that excellent client experience all the way to the end, because we know that there's a really good chance that they'll reconsider, and come back to us because of the world class experience that we have built for our clients and truly great products and solutions that we offer. There's a good chance that they'll come back. So don't stop the marketing. Like they may come back to you, but you have to stay in touch with them and give them a reason to remember if they decide that that maybe wasn't the best decision to make to leave you. All right. Another myth: a relationship focused agency doesn't need an online presence. So this is a big one. I can't believe that I still hear this feedback from some of our insurance agency clients because we're kind of like in this new world where it's almost like if you don't have a strong online presence, how would anybody really find you and how would they know that you're someone credible to do business with? In fact, studies indicate that 88% of consumers pre-research anything they buy, whether it is a service, a product, a solution. Before making any decision, they pre-research it online. So it is actually super critical for you to have a strong online presence, right? A great website that communicates what you do, that also caters to your prospects and your clients, right? A good local listing strategy, especially on Google My Business, where you're showcasing your reviews and sort of like, the vibe of your agency. Great social media presence, even if you're not, you don't have to be posting daily, but just keeping the lights on, like once a week, maybe some behind the scenes human post mixed in with some educational content. Like all of those things really mean a lot because it just shows your potential client or your potential referral that like, who you are at the core and that you're there and that you're consistent and that you're human and that you have a personality and that you're organized and you know what I mean? Like it's just so many different things that represents you having a strong online presence. So I don't underestimate the value of that. Um, our solution here, our recommendation is build a strong online presence to enhance your agency's credibility and become the hub for referrals, education, and service. Like that's it's going to anchor those things for you.
Yep. And I'll
Chorley.
just piggyback on that. We've already kind of mentioned it several times throughout this webinar. You know, before that referral ever gets to a phone call or gets to a quote request, they probably will have been to your Google My Business. They will been to your Facebook. That's just the world we live in. It is not the same thing as people are just you're gonna pick up a phone and just strike up a deal most of the time. That digital footprint, that's the term you hear thrown around a lot. I think it makes more I mean, it just makes more of a difference these days. Most of the time, those referrals aren't even going to get through the door if you don't pass the digital sniff test.
It's your online presence is how you present yourself to the world. So it's kind of like, I would ask you, would you wear sweatpants to a business meeting? Would you wear, I don't know, swim trunks to a wedding, like unless you were in the Bahamas and the wedding was on the beach, maybe, right? So just think of it that way, right? Like it's how you present your agency to the world. That's your digital presence. You want people to see that you care about the details, because if you care about those details and you have a good online presence, you probably are going to care about them as a client and about helping them and protecting them. So just something to really strongly consider. All right. The techno phantom. By the way, you guys, this is full disclosure. Some of these funky little Halloween terms that we're using in our presentation, totally, totally chat GPT. Right, Charlie? I mean, I
Right.
had so much fun asking chat GPT to come up with some fun headlines for me for this presentation. So don't be afraid. Oh, and actually, this is the slide about AI.
It is. I
I
thought you were doing
didn't
that on purpose.
No, I didn't even read it. I didn't even read it, honestly. I just looked techno phantom and I started talking about how I used AI to build some of this presentation. So anyway, fearing AI will erase the human touch. Um, AI can be the friendly phantom that you don't need to be afraid of. It could actually enhance your agency's capabilities while preserving its heart and soul. We use a ton of AI at Agency Revolution in a good way, in a smart way. Honestly, I don't know how I would do my job at this point without AI. I ask it questions all the time. I ask it questions like, hey, can you just r- read this paragraph I wrote and just check it for grammar, spelling, and flow, or sometimes I'll say, hey, can you give me like 5 ideas on how to build this type of strategy? I mean, like I'm constantly asking AI for help. And it's not because I can't do it myself. I just want to, I don't want to focus on doing that work. Like if I can use AI to help me get to the goal 5 times faster, right? Then that means that I have a lot more time to focus on the things that really matter, like leading my team and creating new programs, for our clients and so many other things. So don't let it scare you. Begin by integrating AI tools that handle routine tasks, freeing up your team to focus on personalized client interactions and relationship building. So, again, you could start really simple, kind of see how it goes, but there's, I'm sure, a lot of routine tasks that you can come up with that would help your team tremendously. To be a lot more efficient and also just to focus on the work that they want to do, which is probably interacting with clients. Surely,
Absolutely.
you and your hats. I swear to God, I'm trying not to laugh every time you change your hat.
Yeah, and this is one
Awesome.
where like you can make a scared face, you can go ah. But like I think that when people look at AI, I think this is the only one on the list that people are actually scared of. Like I've literally talked to customers
The
who have
actual
told me,
monster.
I mean, seriously, like where they're actually scared of it. Some people even have thought that they were like doing something wrong, or like, is this like stealing, like literally afraid to use it. And if you get anything from this webinar, I just want to say, have the direct opposite mindset because if you're not embracing it to some level, I think you're actually doing yourself a disservice. So far, we've shown you examples of a website that was actually ranking third nationally. Remember, that was AI generated content. Like, I don't know if this is going to be the case 5 years from now, 10 years from now, but as we sit here today, Google is embracing AI content just like the rest of us. Like, if you want to use AI to help infuse your website with keywords, if you want to be ranking higher in your local city, and you could say, hey, can you produce some content for my home insurance page that utilizes this keyword? I mean, AI is smart enough to help generate content that will do that very thing. You put it on your website, Google uses it, and boom. So even if it's just to use it, like Monica was saying, just to generate some ideas, or hey, I want to blog. Can you give me a couple of blog ideas? Or hey, can you just take a look at this grammar? Like, um, just start implementing it in your business in some way. Start implementing in your marketing, and you will see benefits. I've yet to talk to anyone who has fully embraced it and it's not benefited them in some way. In most cases, it's benefited people in a major way.
Yeah. Good points. Yeah. And those are some good ideas. So, just to kind of recap what Charlie said, I mean, at least begin with using AI for content for emails, website copy, SEO keywords, client communication, and just general brainstorming.
Yep.
Really, it's pretty powerful if you just give it a try. Okay. Number 9, cost cut. We're almost there. We're almost at the end. Cost cutting curse, slashing marketing first in a financial crunch. Um, this is common, it's like when you're thinking about what should we cut out because just it's a hard market, and we need to save money and we need to reallocate funds to other things. Marketing usually comes up in that conversation, and marketing should never be viewed as an expendable resource, right? Marketing is your engine for growth. It's not hindering growth, it's actually contributing to growth. So to cut out marketing is a really, really bad mistake that you may not be able to recover from. But I also understand that you may need to cut costs, right? Especially in the hard market that we're still, in. Um, you may need ideas on how to cut out some costs. So there's ways that you could do that without really just eliminating marketing altogether. Evaluate your marketing budget, see where you can streamline. Is there an opportunity to consolidate services and solutions, right? Maybe you have like 7 different tools that you're using for your marketing efforts. Maybe there are two that can handle the majority of that work. There are a lot of solutions, out there, but only so many can do a lot of things well. So do that research and look for opportunity to potentially consolidate. Um, in order to optimize your marketing efforts, and just make sure that you're also working with partners who get you and your industry, but don't sacrifice on quality, right? Because that's another thing. It's like, we have clients who have a management system that also sort of like gives them a free website, but eh, is that what you want to represent your agency, that type of website? So you kind of have to also balance the all-in-one aspect with, like, how good is that all-in-one solution? Do they really get my industry? Is there value in me consolidating those tools? Is it actually going to help my agency versus hurt it?
And I would also just like to just point you all to the first slide that we showed you today, which is striking that balance, right? The minute you think of a marketing as an expendable thing, then that balance is now completely offset. A lot of times when people have to cut marketing, it's generally the client side of it. That seems to be, for whatever reason, what clients think is the most expendable part of that. And if you take one or two things from this webinar, we want to just stress that that should not be an expendable thing. Even if you have to get rid of something, just to find a way to replace it somehow, like Monica was saying, like just don't cut it away completely. Don't make it just disappear like it's a ghost. Come up with a plan to have some way to get in touch with your clients, to stay in front of customers, to have some kind of marketing plan, even if it's different due to budgetary reasons.
All right, last one, and then we'll go into just some wrap up and some questions. Underdog ogre, underestimating the power of independent. This may seem like a no-brainer to a lot of you, but as an independent agency, your ability to forge genuine relationships can truly outshine the big impersonal, transactional nature of the big players. Don't forget that. Like, that's literally what sets you apart as an independent insurance agency, is that relationship aspect and just genuine relationships that you're building. It could outshine those big players in a big way. So focus on value over price. Every time, people are still craving relationships, people still want that connection, even though they might want to make the experience a little bit easier. But you can do that in many different ways. You could do that by offering different ways to connect with your agency, via phone, via email, via chat. So there's ways that you can still sort of compete with those big players in terms of technology, without sacrificing what your agency is built on. That
And
is
just to really quickly, the the agencies so far that have embraced the ideals that we have talked about so far, I think are actually doing quite well in the hard market right now. I know we look at that as a really a negative term, um, but if your website in particular has positioned itself, in your local community and is ranking, in various ways. A lot of these people that are being cut by these state farms of the world, like, or they're just being mishandled and mistreated or just dropped completely, are turning to Google. They're needing help. And who's there to save the day? Well, are the independent agencies come swooping in with that red cape? We'll help you out. And I just think in general, like a lot of places in the hard market are well positioned, for growth on the independent side versus the opposite.
Yep.
So lots of good things, certainly to be gleaned from the points that we've made today, for sure.
If you do want to learn more about the products and services that we offer, feel free to scan this QR code. That'll take you over to our book demo page. So you can do that if you want to learn more. You can have a one-on-one demo, live demo with one of our account executives, and they'll walk you through the different products and services that we offer. Or if you're an existing Agency Revolution client, you can contact our client experience team at team@agencyrevolution.com. All right, Charlie, I think we're gonna call it, right?
All right. Have a great Halloween,
So,
everybody. Bye
yeah, thank you
bye.
so much.